As far as like building a business, like how do you build monthly recurring revenue, right? How do you increase margins? How do you basically scale without headcount? And that's always been something I've leaned into my entire career is how do you scale with minimal headcount? And so when I really kind of got under the hood with Discomfort and started thinking about LinkedIn, I'm like, there it is, right? There is the magic.
Startups with Stu is a podcast for anyone living or wanting to live the startup life, either as a founder or a team member. Your host, Stuart Draper, was a 9-time Inc. 5000 honoree before age 40. This show dives deep into the exhilarating world of entrepreneurship with guests that are seeking advice from Stu for their startup or business owners that want to share their entrepreneurial journey. Listeners always walk away with actionable ideas of what to do to take their startup to the moon. Startup life can feel like a roller coaster ride. And with Startups with Stu, you're likely to turn your roller coaster ride into a rocket ship ride. Get ready to uncover the secrets to startup success from visionary founders and savvy investors who've transformed groundbreaking ideas into thriving ventures.
This episode is brought to you today by PodUp. PodUp.com is the leading all-in-one AI-powered podcasting software. If you've ever considered having a podcast, want to get started, go to PodUp.com and check it out. Of all of the different episodes that I've produced, this guy might be the coolest, the most sexy. He's doing something fun. He's using sneakers as a way to guerrilla market his business, to get attention for his business. So Matt Williams, the founder of Discomfort, here with us today. Matt, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Stu. I've never been introduced as sexy before, but I appreciate that. It feels really good. I kind of blushed a little bit if you saw
it. Well, I was talking specifically about the business, the brand. I think it's all awesome. Matt, let's, for the viewers that will watch this show live or on YouTube, why don't you screen share or hold up on screen those cool shoes you were showing me before, the money makers?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell us the story behind them.
Yeah, so these are the money makers. These kind of started it off on my journey with Discomfort. So I am the co-founder.
And those are Nike Air Jordans.
These are
basically.
Dunks.
The Nike Dunks.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know my sneakers as well as I should. And is for those that are listening on Spotify, so they're not bored at this part of the show. What are we showing here? So we've got are those dollar bills? It says Moneymaker on the back of the shoe. It's got dollar bills embroidered, I believe, into the side of the shoe. Is that an actual dollar bill, by the way?
No. This is basically just a created swoosh through dollar bills.
Yes. Okay. So they're super customized. And then it also has the logo of the brand on the side of the business that you're supporting here that you made the shoes for. Is that right?
Exactly. So, the idea, Stu, is to really, one, explode a corporate logo into sneaker form, and two, make that explosion sticky, right? So how do we record it? How do we create something that's fun, that grabs attention, that people really want to stay involved with?
That's genius. By the way, how many businesses are giving this away as a Christmas gift to their team members? This is like a genius gift.
We have a small team of elves that are working around the clock right now. That's for sure. And it's funny. It's, you mentioned like gifting. That's really kind of the starting point of where Discomfort for B2B really started, was how do you create a really cool moment that's, apart from like a 3/4 zip or a mouse pad or a mug, right? We were looking at how to gift something that was really impactful, that one, people would wear, and two, that was very shareable, right? And so then you don't have something that's sitting in the closet or is in the, in the pantry. You actually have something that's going to be worn. It's going to be on display, maybe on a bookcase, and it's going to be a conversation piece that then sets our client's brand apart and also gets our name out there organically through conversation.
I love it. This is a business model that has a lot of, let's give them something to talk about with it, right? Like the idea that everyone, when you have a guest walk in your office and they notice that there's people wearing Nikes all over around here and they all have that cool, the business logo on them. Like, I want to work for a company like this, right? People are talking. And you need to find ways to get people to care about your business and what you're doing. And this is one of those ways you can do that. There's so many wins happening with what you're creating. So, but there are limits to what you can do, how many elves you can hire, and the amount of total return you get from slimmer margins, I'm guessing. And on top of that, you got, every time you grow, you're hiring more people to fulfill the growth. So your costs go up at the same amount that revenue grows. You have always about the same margin, no matter how hard you work, right?
Yeah. And that's where we really found the opportunity for growth for us, was not hiring an army of cobblers that were basically customizing sneakers, but how do we exponentially grow without having to put more hires, more butts in the seat, more hands on sneakers? And it came down to, we truly are a social media play at Discomfort, and the sneakers are, I'll call it the Trojan horse, right? We're giving sneakers the reason to be the center point for our videos. And so if you'll see our videos on LinkedIn, we do a really good job of taking kind of an out of the box sneaker and taking them through the entire customization process within about 30 or 45 seconds. And so for us, it's that, most people want to see the tape peel. They want to see the 0 to 100% in that really short time frame, because they're losing their ability to hold attention. And for us, what we found is it's highly engaging and it's very sticky. A lot of our videos, I have a tape peel video that's got about 40 hours of views, and it's a 30-second video of just tape peeling. And it's an FAQ video. The most boring video you can make, and it's got over 40 hours of views within 1 week. So the videos are really the sticky point for our clients. And so they're able to drive a lot of awareness for their brand, because people are glued to the logos coming to life in sneaker form. And so for us, yes, we can't hire an army of cobblers, but what we can do is we can provide video packages for our clients that then they can use to drive traffic to their website or their LinkedIn business page.
So it's actually like, yes, you sell shoes, but really what you're selling is the video creation as a way to drive traffic for each brand individually to gain traction.
Exactly.
For their brand.
Yeah. So it's almost like an NFT, like the modern day NFT, right? You get a hard good and you get the digital form. So we're basically providing the digital form in the form of 3 video fully edited assets and the actual sneakers that then can be either gifted to a client, used at trade shows, or for employee retention, whatever the excuse is, they're filming that entire making of the sneaker.
So I am going to screen share myself here. I want to show everyone the website for those that are tuning in for the video. Discomfort is just such a cool looking logo. It shows them on this home screen upper fold. You're able to see the design coming to life of different shoes that have been created. And then they have these super cool looking, ultra unique Nikes that you can just tell a lot of heart and soul and time and energy from a very dedicated cobbler took place. So Matt, these shoes that I'm showing on screen, what those bad boys sell for?
Yeah. So we try to keep our designs under $500. So you'll see a range of about $400 to $500 per shoe that we customize, and we do any shoe, right? So whether it's a Nike or a New Balance, Adidas, Allen Edmond, as long as it's leatherish, we can work with it. And we know everyone's feet are different, and so some people can't wear a certain brand. Some people are more loyal to another, and we try to keep everything kind of agnostic as far as shoes go, as far as the brands go. And we basically take our designs to each one of the brands we have. Now, if you go up to the top, Stu, you'll see the others. Sorry, the other way. There you go. So personal or corporate, if you click on there, we'll take you to basically start the process. And so when you go to start the process, that's our first kind of entree into your mockup. We do free mockups. So it's kind of our way of getting the collaboration effort going. And so you can upload your brand guide, your logo. You can tell us how spicy you want the shoe, whether you want it mild or spicy. And that way it gives our designers an understanding of how far to take it from colorways and schemes. And so we'll send back over to you within about 48 hours, your first mockup to review. And then we really start to dig in on the collaboration to truly dial in what your vision is for the sneaker. And at that point, we kind of go back and forth, figure out what you like, and we go from there. But a lot of times, people are like, I don't know where to go, Matt. I don't know what to do. I'm like, all right, what kind of music do you like? What do you like to do for fun? What is it that gets you up in the morning? And all those little bitty bits of conversation are what really drives the soul of the shoe, meaning it really drives a little bit of uniqueness apart from the logo, right? I mean, we did a surf sneaker the other day for a mortgage company. And it was a mortgage company, had a traditional brand, really nice, clean logo. But the person we made the shoes for, they were surfers. So we basically created a surf sneaker that had a nice wave in the swoosh. It had the sunset of their logo on the back heel with surfers in the forefront. It was just a beautiful shoe.
Dude, if nothing else out of taking time to be a guest on my show is you've got a new customer. Like, this is going to be really fun to work with you on. I'm not much of a Nike fan personally, but it'll be fun to pick a shoe type that works for me and do this with you. So I'm guessing, though, you're going to get a lot of other guests out of this. We should have had like a Startups with Stu 25% off thing or something, ran an affiliate. But I love it. I think it's awesome. And the website, so well done. Where did you get your talent to help you build your website?
Stu, I would love to say I'm 25 years younger, but I'm 25 years older, and I've been around the neighborhood a little bit. So I've got an army of consultants and experts I've worked with at past companies that are friends, right? And I've always said your network is your net worth, and it truly is something that I value. And when I lean on them, they always show up. And so I've had people help me with my website. We've had social media support. Caleb, my partner, and his team are doing the designs, but I've had so much help from friends to basically get everything off the ground.
Caleb looks like he's sharp. I'm here on your About Us page, suit and tie, just all smiles. Looks like he's a great partner to have. Tell me about the partnership. Are you working is this side hustle for you and side hustle for him? Does he work full-time? You work part-time?
Yeah, full-time, part-time. Yeah, he's full-time. I'm part-time. Come in to really kind of help on the B2B front. So really leaning into LinkedIn. And I think that's really, for us, the low-hanging fruit, right? Is how do people stay relevant on LinkedIn without basically picking up their phone and stumbling through a video on what they need to talk about, right? It's like, it's not natural. And so for us, I leaned into, we need to give people an excuse, and we need to give people a fun excuse for having eyeballs to their brand. And that's where sneakers came in. I'm like, okay, this is going to work. People love seeing the 0 to 100 creation video. And now we're actually dividing up corporate logos with pop culture, and it works together.
Yes, it does. The genius of this for me is that you can take a very boring brand and make it really fun for them and their employees to have the shoes. Like, I think of a brand like, well, let's talk QuickBooks, right? Like people go to QuickBooks, and as a company to work for, I'm sure they have crazy awesome benefits. And I'm sure they have a lot of really well put together things that they do for their team members. But people don't walk into their office and go, I work for the coolest company on the planet. I build an accounting software that actually doesn't need more building. It's already ran basically perfectly for 3 decades, right? Like, these guys have everything figured out. But if all of a sudden people are walking around the office in their QuickBooks shoes, and they're on the team QuickBooks, and everyone's rocking a logo, like, genius stuff, man. Like that, there's real value for a business to pay big bucks for something like this. It's so much different than just a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Right? Having the t-shirt. Yeah.
And Stu, I'll tell you, I'll one up that, right? There's a commercial real estate company that we've been working with it for a little bit when we first started, and they're all kind of branched out, right? So you have a location in Charlotte, you have a location in California, you got a location in Denver, you have a location in Nebraska. What's happened is now all of a sudden you have this competitive nature within the commercial real estate business. And so they're all creating their own little tweaks to their customization. So now you have this commercial real estate company that has got Husker shoes in Nebraska. You've got Queen Bee shoes in Charlotte. You've got different variations of that in California and New Jersey. And so everything's starting to kind of spread. And now you have unique, individualized sneakers for each one of the departments. It's really cool.
Yeah, so cool. I love it. As a sales reward, this is awesome. Nothing too proprietary about what you're doing, right? Definitely something where anyone else that wants to, that's creative, can try to be as good as you guys are at the design side. I think that's where you can be unique and set yourselves apart as like, we do the best at design. But I think you're also saying, no, we do good designs, but we do so much more than just the shoe and the design. We're also going to like help you go viral online. We're going to help you gain attention and attraction. We're going to help your employees love you more if you buy these for them. Like, you can do a lot of additional things for them beyond just design, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the design is just the beginning, right? And obviously that's our specialty. We, Caleb and his team are just uber creative. But for us, it's the content capture along the way and the video assets we create. And further down the line, Stu, it's like when we basically produce those 3 edited videos and someone basically posts and goes viral, we have the ability then to become the LinkedIn ad management system for them. And so taking that viral post, turning it into an ad, and that becomes the first step into a smaller business becoming an ad creative opportunity for us. And so then we become a LinkedIn ad manager, and also just helping them out with understanding how to plant, grow, and harvest on LinkedIn, right? It's a different social media platform, and I've been on it for a while, and helping people really understand the best way to post, the best way to engage, and the best way to truly harvest those viral posts as they continue to kind of grow on the platform.
Oh man, the ideas that are streaming through my head right now of different ways you can use this as a marketing tool. This is cool. Like, as a marketer myself, I find myself going, oh, I have an idea for this startup I invested in, and the way they could use them. Like, man, you could have so much fun with this. Like, I invested in PodUp, the software that we're using to record this call today. I'm the chair of the board, lead investor. And one of the things that that came to my mind was, what if you created a cool podcaster shoe that, like, if you're a podcaster, you want that shoe, and you show it, you run a LinkedIn video showing the creation of this podcast shoe that, and someone in a podcast studio, then wearing them, kicking them up on their desk next to their microphone and stuff. And all of a sudden, everyone that's a podcaster is sharing it and saying, wow, like, check out what this guy did. And then, from there, you have this newfound audience that you can connect with that can start to use your software. And all of a sudden you're like, wait, but I thought you were running a video about shoes, right? Like,
yes, exactly. And that's the point, right? It's like you're trying to stand out in a crowded environment, right? And for most of our clients, whether it's commercial real estate, whether it's finance, whether it's med tech, whether it's biotech, they're looking for a reason to stand out. And we're just giving them a reason to stand out amongst a crowd of noise in order for them to be seen in a very relevant way. You know, one of the cool things too is we also, in our video series, is we will attach a note to each one of the boxes that go out. So if you're doing a corporate gift, it'll be received by your client, and they'll receive a note that says, hey, do me a favor and video yourself as you open the box. I want to see your reaction. So they'll basically open the box, and you'll just see like this moment of, wow, like, this is special.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're able to capture that in video, and then we'll edit that up into a 30-second video for them to then share. And so if you think about the impact a brand has on current clients and new prospects, sharing that video, they're like, oh, these guys are going above and beyond. These guys are special because they know how to treat their customers. And that's where we get a lot of views, is the box openings, right? It's the reaction of what's in the box. And people just love the creation videos, and they want to see what's in the box as well.
Do you tag Discomfort along with their brand in the posts, or do you leave Discomfort out of that part?
You know, so our strategy is we always let the customer post first, right? So all the videos we put together, like, okay, you guys set the tone. You let us know when you're going to post, and we're going to follow. And so the following is, I'll post for them to increase views, and then we'll also post from Discomfort, and I'll tag Discomfort and myself, and obviously the client. And it's optional for them whether they want to tag us or not. And that's part of the strategy too for us, is helping them understand how to post, right? What time of day to post? Do you tag multiple people? How do you want to get this thing the most legs for your posts within the company? Your company page, yes, you're going to get the posts, but you want to divide that thing up. And if you've got 10 people in your company, let them all tell the story differently and post separately, so you get more eyeballs and more reach for that video versus one video coming out from your company page that it's going to do okay, but you want the personal conversations to happen with each one of the unique individuals at your company. And so there is some coaching. I mean, it's one of those things to where we don't just send it and be like, okay, we hope it works. There is definitely like some strategy to, the plant, the grow, and the harvest aspect of LinkedIn posting and marketing.
You're on LinkedIn. You've been there using the platform to grow and succeed. You're now up to 7,859 followers on LinkedIn. Before we move into some of the other aspects of the call, what's worked for you well with LinkedIn so far?
There's not one silver bullet. I wish there was, because if there was a silver bullet, I'd be doing it all day long. It is a hamster wheel that does not turn unless you run on it. Right. And it's one of those things that you need to contribute daily, right? You need to post. You need to be active on other people's comments and supporting from a community standpoint. Comedy, humor on LinkedIn goes a very long way. And also connecting, right? Don't sit back and wait for people to connect to you and follow. You have to be proactive about reaching out to people, connecting and following. I did a tip yesterday, and I do some tips every once in a while on LinkedIn, but even in your post feed, like there's a little button that says either recent or top. And if you take top, then you're probably just going to get your first person connections in your feed all day. If you do recent, then all of a sudden that opens up a whole nother world of second and third party connections that then you can then interact with, you can connect with, and you can follow. And that allows you to exponentially grow your community. And so for me, that's always been my goal. It's like, how do I grow my community beyond just my first person?
I agree with everything he just said and highly recommend that you do those things, folks. Also, good content matters. Content that people care about, will talk about, that matters. You don't have to be a major creator in order to have success with your LinkedIn as well, like to grow, because you can be a contributor by adding to the story, adding to the conversation in the comments, and people that see that you add value in the comments will follow you. They'll invite you to connect as well. So there's value in that. I'm going to take a second here and screen share Matt's LinkedIn profile. He is doing a great job with it. And one of the things that I love about his approach is the way he's using video. This gives you a chance to check out some of the amazing design work as well that they do at Discomfort. He's got these super cool Grinch-like colored shoes, painted green. They've got gold, red and white for the Christmas theme too added into them. So much detail goes into this. How much of this is like exactly mandated or requested by a customer versus like they tell you kind of what they're looking for, and then you're like, okay, then we just go, let us make something cool. Is that how it is most of the time?
Yeah, within kind of our onboarding forms too, it's we try to get as much detail as possible for their vision, right? We don't know what their vision is locked in their head, but we get as close as we can, and then we collaborate with the client to finally dial it in to where they want it. Once it's dialed in, then they pretty much, they'll see the mock-up and they'll know exactly what they're going to get. They order it, and then we start the process of, okay, what shoe do they want? We order that, and then we start the process of baking in content and creating the shoe.
This post of this shoe that he's talking about now has 35 comments, 1 repost, and then 39 reactions, all like likes and stuff, right? In a matter of 2 hours, that's come in. The video views has to be in the probably thousands already, if not high hundreds. If it's only high hundreds and already has that many comments, trust that by the end of today, it's going to be in the thousands of views. And what I've found is that it's not so much about the volume, but about the quality of the connection that you're getting on LinkedIn. So seek the quality connection there on LinkedIn. Don't just be there trying to sell without any sort of value that you're bringing to the platform. But I want to commend you. Very well done what you're doing there on LinkedIn. If you're not following Matt Williams on LinkedIn, search up Matt Williams Discomfort and you'll be able to easily find him. Discomfort is not spelled like you might think. It's DSCMFRT.
Yes, no vowels.
And I was like, did I get it right there? I think I spelled that right. So Matt, tell us about the way you came up with the name Discomfort.
I wish I could take credit for that. That's my partner, Caleb. As I mentioned, I came in probably 5 months ago as a partner. He's had this business for probably 8-9 years now. So he's been designing for sneakerheads for a very long time. And a lot of just Etsy, Pinterest, Instagram, TikTok, people finding him and ordering 1 or 2 pairs of shoes. And my whole idea when I first came in was, oh man, this is a B2B play, right? This is an opportunity for us to really shake things up in the corporate gifting world. And then that expanded into trade shows and expanded into employee retention, then rewards, and then the videos came apart. So everything kind of has been naturally really progressing. And then I think, where we're heading next is LinkedIn ad management. And we have it on our website, but it's something that we're really going to start leaning into in the new year, is taking a lot of these video assets and really leaning into the hyper growth we can provide to clients.
Okay. Taking a quick break from the episode. Sorry to interrupt, but I have to take a second and thank the great team at Pod Allies that helps me produce this podcast. Startups with Stu is not an easy undertaking. It takes a lot of work and team power to get this thing done. So the team I use for my podcast, podallies.com, go check them out. If you are considering a podcast, if you've thought you have a dream for a show and you want to go make it happen, go to podallies.com and book a strategy call today. I promise you won't regret it. I was 8 episodes published. I was on, I think, my 12th recording with a guest. And that guest was like, hey, I think I'd like to do a podcast. And I introduced him to the Pod Allies team. He's entirely satisfied with the work they're doing for him. That's the beauty of podcasting, right? Like, I'm not out there day in and day out selling podcasting services. I invested in podup.com, the parent company of Pod Allies, and it's been a joy to work with them, but I didn't have to go and sell this $36,000 deal that came from just having a guest on my show. I think one thing that people don't understand with a podcast is there's more value to be had than just likes, listens, shares, follows, etc. subscribers. You're going to get more than that with a podcast. And one of the greatest benefits is the networking that you can do through your show, getting guests on the show. Speaking of the show or shows, let's get back to Startups with Stu in this episode. Forgive my interruption, but if you're interested, go check out podallies.com. So 5 months ago, Caleb was just someone that did sneakers himself.
Well, he wasn't just someone. He's got a very big following. He's got about 50,000 people on Instagram, a considerable amount of traffic on TikTok. He's well known within the creator space for sneakers, and he's earned that. He's done a really good job. But on LinkedIn, it's been vacant. It's just been a void. And so for me, I'm like, oh man, this is a really interesting platform that's changed, as you know, from all right, we're going to basically upload our resume and take a look at some jobs to now it's a social platform. Like, people want to know who you are. People want to know your personal brand, which is your reputation. What are you about? What are your struggles? And then they'll engage with you. And so for me, I'm like, okay, LinkedIn is just low-hanging fruit for what we're doing with Discomfort, especially from the
and for people with people that have the money, right? You can find a lot of folks on the 50,000 people on Instagram that are under 18, still don't have $500 to spend on a pair of shoes, right? Whereas when you go on LinkedIn, you're connecting with career folks that already have budget for something like this, or at least have access to the business owners and decision makers within a business that would say, yeah, this is something we should buy, and not just buy one of, we should buy a bunch of. And then also we see the value of advertising on LinkedIn, and we want to pay you to do the videos. Like, by the way, what I just described, That is a form of funnel marketing, right? Where they get them in the door, they get their attention with the videos on social media, they get them onto the website from there, they get them to then order from there. And when they place an order, that's just the beginning of the new ways that Matt has found to add more total lifetime value of a customer, because a customer can just buy a pair of shoes if they want, but they can then buy them for their employees, or they can buy the video content. And then if they want, they can go up from there again and do more than just video content. They can actually pay for Matt and team to take care of their LinkedIn advertising. Genius flow and great way of showing how you can keep making more money and increase the lifetime value of a customer. Matt, is that funnel something that you brought to the table, or was that already in existence with Caleb as well?
Yeah, it's something I brought to the table. I love the creation. I love the art form of the custom sneakers, but I also know that it's limited, right? I mean, you buy a pair of shoes and that's it. It's gone. But for me, as far as like building a business, like how do you build monthly recurring revenue, right? How do you increase margins? How do you basically scale without headcount? And that's always been something I've leaned into my entire career, is how do you scale with minimal headcount? And so when I really kind of got under the hood with Discomfort and started thinking about LinkedIn, I'm like, there it is, right? There is the magic. Because when I posted these, when I first got them,
the money makers.
The money makers. I just posted a 30-second video, and it went off for about 38 hours in about 4 days. And so that's a 30-second video with 38 hours of viewership of people just watching that shoe being created. And we did it again. And it hit over 24 hours. And so for me, I'm like, aha, there is the better opportunity for upselling. And there's the opportunity for a company who is our client to then get viral and actually be able to parlay that into a LinkedIn ad.
Yeah. I don't know if when you say it like you're saying it, if people catch the true reach of the 30 seconds into 40 hours. So what that means is if there's 40 hours of viewership, 30 seconds of 1 hour is one of those views, right? So you're getting 120 views per minute. Wait,
is this a math podcast? Stu, don't do this to me on.
No, this matters. This matters, Matt, because the value here is that he's getting eyeballs, and the eyeballs are not hundreds. They're thousands and thousands of eyeballs on each one of these posts, and it doesn't cost anything.
And that's the value, right? It's the fact that you've got something that's super sticky, that people are watching just effortlessly for 30 seconds at a time. And when you can start, I mean, I would ask anyone, I mean, go look at your videos and see how many minutes you've got viewed. It's not hours. It's typically minutes. If you're sitting there doing basically videoing yourself, talking about your product, like it's hard, right? It's a very difficult thing to do. Some people do it really well, but it's hard to start off, especially in the industries we focus on, which is typically commercial real estate, financial advisors, mortgage brokers, SaaS, AI. I mean, they're looking for some fun stuff to talk about, and we check that box.
Love it. So you, in the application to be a guest on the podcast, which I appreciate you taking the time to do, Matt, you said, is outside investment necessary for growth? Do companies build slowly / organically anymore? Does that even happen? So elaborate on your question. Like, why does this matter to you? Are you seriously considering outside investment, or are you like, no, I don't think I need that? Tell me kind of where your head's at today, and then I can share my thoughts on it for you.
Yeah, Stu, I guess it just comes from my career of being in the startup world, right? And I feel like every single startup I work for, it's always like, all right, how do we get to a point where VC comes in, or any sort of like liquidity event? And there always seems to be this rush, and there's always this, we're going to do whatever we can to get to this number to make us look attractive for a buyout. And maybe this is my own business stupidity, but I've always looked at it as like, man, if you like what you're doing and you're making a decent margin and you're making a decent living for yourself, why the rush? Why rush to get out I get the rush to get out, right? Because you want to not work anymore and sit on like Tahoe or go to a beach and just kind of hang. But for me, it's like, at what point does a company, let's say like Discomfort, right now we're hand to mouth, right? We make some money, we reinvest it, and we grow.
Yep.
At what point does it become evident that it's like, hey, all right, we got to take more outside investment in order to exponentially grow? Or do you just kind of know? I've never been in this situation where either you kind of know or you don't.
I think you'll know. I think it's okay to avoid fundraising. That is a good place to be when you're like, if I can, I want to avoid it. Here's why I say that. When you take dollars for shares of what you owned, all of a sudden you have more owners. And you may be the majority owner, and by far the majority owner. But as soon as you take their money, now that you have more people to consider when deciding it's the right time to leave. You have more people to consider when it's the right time to do a layoff, if you have to do something like that. You don't get to just make the call the shots anymore once you do that. Like there's more, your boss becomes your investors. And even if they're in the minority, like at some point morally, they need to be your boss because you took their money and they need it back and with return. Like that's what you should be aiming for if you choose to raise money. So you have a lot of freedom. You keep optionality when you don't raise money. But for some businesses, you really need money in order to grow and in order to survive hard windows of time within your business. So for example, if Christmas gifting becomes a really big thing, Matt, for Discomfort shoes, all of a sudden come March or April, you either do a layoff or you're raising money to afford payroll until the next big season, right? And if you can outsource a lot of the cobbler work, then maybe that's no problem, as long as you can assure you're still going to have the same quality of cobblers next year, and they don't all get hired away by another competitor who did raise money and has more money to pay cobblers more, right? Like, and to acquire, and they may have better ad budgets to acquire the buyers that want custom shoes, because all of a sudden you're not unique and everyone realizes how much money and opportunity there is in making shoes, right? I'm not trying to give you a bunch of fear because it's not true. Not everyone's going to go do what you're doing, but those are all things you have to consider, right?
Yeah.
So as far as when you'll know, I think if you have cash crunch needs for a short window of time, sometimes you can solve for those with debt financing. Other times you won't be able to, but there's a big opportunity. And so you have to either raise money or miss the opportunity, right? You choose. Maybe it's okay. Maybe I know I want to keep my own ownership. I'm okay growing slower, then miss an opportunity here and there. That's okay. I'm building a lifestyle business. It's good for my life. It pays well. I think you should consider when raising money is how big of an upside is there for myself and for potential investors to take money and do it together. Like if you can go and grow this thing, let's say today you're going to, in your first full year with Caleb, your first calendar year ending with Caleb, you guys are going to do, I don't know the numbers and we don't need to share those,
sure,
but let's say that you do $1 million this year, but that you realize the market opportunity is actually 50 to 100 million. If you are going to just reinvest, you're going to take that $1 million, pay all your payroll, pay all your expenses to acquire your cost of goods sold, right? Pay your rent, pay your taxes. And all of a sudden you go, I get to grow as much as I can afford to buy growth next year. And I buy growth by good marketers that help me do my videos. I buy growth, whatever you're doing to grow,
sure,
right? Let's say that leaves you 50 grand for that. That's how much you get to put into growing next year. Well, with 50 grand, do you go from 1 million to 3 million, or you grow from 1 million to 1,200,000?
Right.
And if you're going to grow from 1 million to 3 million, I can promise you there's investors interested in a business that can go and do that. Because if it can do that, it can probably go from 3 to 9. And if it can do that, it can probably go from 9 to 20 plus.
Yep.
Right. And you've already shown the value you're bringing to the business with Caleb is, oh, look, there's this way to make money. Oh, look, there's that way to make money. Oh, look, there's another way to make money. And I've got recurring revenue now. Like I've got a revenue stream that recurs. All of a sudden, investors are interested in the lifetime, a business where you can acquire a customer and then keep making more money on them over time. They also love a business where you can keep recurring that revenue over time. So there's two different ways to look at it. There's a customer I get for $400, then I get them for $1,500, then I get them on retainer for $12,000 a year. See that? I went from 400 to 1,500 to 12,000, and now and when they went from 1,500 to 12,000, they became a repeat customer. Now every year I get to keep them for 12,000. These are rough numbers. They're not matched numbers, guys. My point is, all of a sudden, this is a very investable business. Just a shoe company, sell one pair of shoes, and you didn't make the shoes. Another company makes the shoes, and you just buy them from them. You're always going to be at the mercy of how much they're going to charge to sell you shoes.
Yep.
Like that's a challenge that you might have to overcome someday too, and you don't get to control that aspect of it. So, and if they limit how many pairs you can buy, like all of a sudden you might have a problem in inventory and things. There's all sorts of issues that can arise.
Yep.
And you're saying you found ways to keep adding value and overcome problems. When you do that, you prove that you have a business where with a little more money, with a little more help, this thing can go and grow faster. And so that's the question. Like, I think for the shortcut that's going to go on YouTube, I don't know, as a short or reel on Instagram, it's going to say something like this. Here we go. $300 first, $1,500 second from the customer, and they're happy, and they say 12,000 next time. I have, and when they say 12,000 next time, they're saying it for each year into the future, and they're going to stay for 5 years. That's an investable business. That's a recurring model that's worth investing in and worth getting investor money to go and acquire those customers faster. So if you can acquire customers for $100 and the lifetime value of that customer is $12,000 year after year into the future, investors want that all day. Don't you? If Matt, if I give you $100 and you promise me you're going to give me 12,000 back every year into the future, we're going to do that deal, right?
Yeah,
like that's
we might be friends.
We'll be happy. So if your business, here's another good clip part we can share from this episode. If your business can grow from $1 million to 1,200,000 year over year without investor money, but it can grow $1 million to 3 million next year with a little bit of investment, that's another great way to decide, should I raise money for this business? If you can go triple your business with investor help, go triple it. All of a sudden, the value of you're going to own less of the business, but the total value of your business just grew exponentially, and it's showing the trend that it can keep doing that.
I guess, when do you have enough data points to say, okay, 1 + 1 = 2, 1 + 8 = 20, right? It's like, when do you get enough data points to say, okay, I'm going to put $10 on this and it's going to exponentially grow to this? Is that, from an investor standpoint, are they looking at a year's worth of data? Will they take 3 months worth of data? Like, how long of a data set do they need to say, okay, this makes sense?
Angels don't need very much. Angels need like less data than you already have, right? Because why? Because you have revenue and you've proven that all of a sudden you can grow into additional forms of income income streams that you didn't have just 5 months ago, right? Like, okay, that's exciting to me. And I can get behind the idea that you're going to go figure this out. That's how an angel investor thinks of it. Maybe a bleeding heart angel investor, maybe a really nice one. But I think at the end of the day, they don't need a lot of data. They invest in businesses that don't even have revenue yet, right?
Right.
You already have that. So how much? I think that's as much about for your information and decision-making as it is for theirs as an investor, right? Like, if you can go and prove that you can put in 100 and get 12,000 back, you don't want an investor. You just go find ways to have more of your own 100s to make your 12,000s.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
And you don't need an investor, and you get to own the lion's share. If not, well, you and your partner are going to own the entirety of the thing. And what's better? Okay. This is another question to ask yourself when considering investment. Is it better to own 100% of a $10 million business or to own 50% of a $20 million business? Which is better? In my opinion, I want 100% of a $10 million business over 50% of a $20 million business. And my reason for saying that is because I don't get to have full control of what's happening in my business. And I still get the same amount of money, 10 million, because I have 50. The other guy has the other 10 of the $20 million business. So you have a business that took twice as long to get there, because now you had to grow it to 20 for you to get your 10. Whereas I can get to 10 by myself fast. Maybe I can't, but if I can get to 10 million by myself and do it at half the time that it takes to get to 20, I want 100% of 10, right?
Yeah.
But I could own another scenario. I could own 20% of $100 million business and be glad that I have that over 100% of a $10 million business, right? Because I got $20 million and the business is worth $100 million. By the way, if a business gets to $100 million and you still own 20%, don't sell all of your 20%. Hold on to some of it, because if it can get there, it's going to keep growing. Businesses that get that big don't fail so fast and easy. And usually there's still ways to go milk more of that cow. All things to consider, all things to consider. Matt, I would think that you're probably still in a stage of, I'm only 5 months in. We should go and grow a little bit longer. This thing's working. It's hand to mouth, but it's a full mouth and we're feeling good about things. Like, let's just keep going.
Yeah.
And then, get a little further down the road, see how the rest of the Christmas season turns out, like get into the new year and go, okay, what's our goal for this year, and 10X what it is, and say, okay, if our goal is to double, what if we 10X'd? What does that look like? And what would it take to get there? What do we need investor money to do it? Those are the types of questions to be asking yourself. No silver bullet, easy answer to this question for everyone, but all important things to ask yourself.
Yeah, no. And I think you hit on something that is always in the back of my mind, which is kind of mindset, right? And it's, once you give up, maybe you're 20 million, but you're giving up 50%, then you're going into conversations. Then it becomes one other person's idea. Now it's not just you driving the ship. There's a lot more emotions and a lot more personalities that are involved in the guidance of the company. And there's a cost to that.
There is, for sure. For sure. Lifestyle businesses are not bad businesses. I have a friend of mine that has a business he's in the agricultural space with some organic fertilizer stuff, and they kill it. He's earning, like, his dad and his brother each pay themselves out about $1 million a year. Is $1 million a year enough to live on? You get about 86 grand every month, right? Not a bad income. You can live on that. They could turn around and sell the business and have a payday that might make each of them $8 million, right? Let's say. It could be way bigger than that, by the way. Who knows? But let's say it's 8 million. If it's 8 million, that means in 8 years, they will have finished making what they would have made had they just, instead of taking the one-time payday, taking it 1 year at a time. Then it's that money's dry. You now don't keep getting any money out of the business, and you have to find new ways to make money off of your money, because your business is gone, and it was your way of always having a new million every year. By the way, that million could grow to $1.2 million, $1.4 million, $2 million. It can change. And so the buy or sell question is also something you have to ask yourself. Today, they're in full control. The two brothers and the dad, they own the whole thing. They get to decide when and where they sell, how much they pay themselves, how many new people they hire, if they want to hire or stop growing as fast and quit having more headaches, if they want to buy another truck or whatever else. Like, they're in control. And there's a lot to be desired in a business like that.
Yeah. And then you got to look at market pressure, right? Competition, what's out there, what are the pressures that may drive that $1 million a year down to $200,000 a year, right? It can go down too quickly.
Exactly. And what are the tax implications? Like, will there be a different person in charge? that now gets to help us decide that instead of capital gains where it is, capital gains goes to 30%, right? And it's like, oh crap, now I wish I had sold earlier. All sorts of things that you have to keep in mind. But it has been a huge pleasure having you, Mr. Matt Williams, on my show today. Guys, if you haven't yet, go to discomfort.org, DSCMFRT.org. You can check out their shoes. I love them. I'm excited to become a new customer and start dreaming up what my shoes are going to look like for my startups. I got to have a pair of Startups with Stu shoes is what I think I got to do.
Absolutely. We can bake those things up for you in the kitchen really quick.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun. So thank you for being with me today. Thank you for what you do to build business and create opportunity for more people in America. I love it. Keep it up, and congratulations on your success.
Thanks, buddy.
Matt, that's a wrap. Hey, founders, entrepreneurs, investors, and other listeners of Startups with Stu. Thank you for listening to this episode today. As I mentioned at the beginning, as I mentioned in the middle, I want to take a second again at the end and say, if you haven't yet and you're considering a podcast, go check out podallies.com. They sure help me a lot with the show. And I'm so grateful for all that they do to help me accomplish Startups with Stu and get it out to the world so we can help more founders and take your startup to the moon. Go check out podallies.com and podup.com if you're interested in podcasting at any level.
Thanks for joining me on Startups with Stu. We have big goals to help millions of entrepreneurs. If you enjoyed this show, please take a minute to share it with someone else that needs to hear it, or leave a review. Remember, success is within reach for those who dare to dream big and take action. Until next time, keep pushing forward on your entrepreneurial journey.